monitor internal data protection compliance, and they conduct trainings in the organization on data protection. They raise awareness, and they do internal data protection compliance audits. They also deal with requests made by the data controller in terms of the Cyber and Data Protection Act, and they are the contact person for the data subjects when they come to your organization requiring issues or inquiries about how their data is being processed. So generally, that is what the data protection officer does. And the data protection officer is the DPO. In terms of Section 16 of the regulations, as controllers, you are obliged to make sure that you have got organizational and technical measures to secure data. You need to make sure that your systems have got proper cybersecurity mechanisms in place to ensure availability, the confidentiality, and the integrity of those systems. And you also need to make sure that you've got systems to ensure restoration and recoverability of data. So cybersecurity or putting in security measures is no longer an option in terms of this law. An organization must make sure that it has got robust systems to ensure data security. In terms of Section 17 of those regulations, an organization must notify the Data Protection Authority within 24 hours of them experiencing a data breach. And if that data breach has got the potential to affect, or if it poses a great risk to the rights of the data subjects, say information about a data subject is gotten into the wrong hands and it is highly sensitive information such as their banking details, then that data subject must be notified within 72 hours of that breach. And the data controller must carry out an investigation on the breach to see what happened, what caused it, what was the impact, how can it be mitigated against, or how can we prevent such breaches in the future within 21 days. And they're supposed to submit that investigation report to the authority. And as data controllers, you must also keep a register of data breaches and any data incidences that you might suffer in terms of the law. So not having this register is against the law. In general, the SI 155 requires you as controllers to make sure that you are properly licensed and registered as controllers, that you are appointing a certified data protection officer, that you are adopting and implementing standards and guidelines that you're required to do so in terms of the law, and that you adopt appropriate security and organizational measures to ensure the security and the integrity and the availability of the data that you process. Lastly, in terms of the laws, there are penalties for non-compliance. So if there is a violation of the Cyber and Data Protection Act or the regulations, those violations attract penalties. And the penalties are currently criminal in nature, so you can pay a fine or fine and imprisonment, or both fine and imprisonment. Obviously, you'd say to yourselves, but we are companies or representatives of companies, so we will not get arrested. These penalties apply to the company itself and its representatives. So if you are a chief executive, you might find yourself in trouble with the law for non-compliance in your personal capacity as well. And in general, the fines are up to level 11 fine, and or imprisonment of up to 7 years. So non-compliance with the Cyber and Data Protection Act can result in imprisonment of up to 7 years. Thank you very much. I have come to the end of my presentation. I can take questions. Thank you, Kuda.
Thank you very much. That was the Deputy Director for Advocacy and Compliance with Potraz, Richanzi Mgota, who gave us that presentation. And at this juncture, I would want us to put up our questions. Or you can put up your hand. But let me say thank you so much to Richanzi for that presentation. We greatly appreciate it. I think you have heard it for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. The processes, the consequences. Hello, I lost my network for a moment there. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right. Uh, yes. So once again, thank you to Zichanzi. And you have heard it for yourself. The issues to do with the data protection, the frameworks that are applying not only in Zimbabwe, but I think basically the rest of the world. You have also heard that data protection is all about collection, receiving, processing, retrieval of data. Those are all forms of things that you need to watch out for and be aware of, that it's all part of data processing. Then you have also had the issue of data controllers, the issue to do with who are the subjects when you're talking about data subjects, who are the subjects, and they also heard about the issues to do with the registrations and licensing fee. The registration process was quite emphasized as well. And I hope we all now have licenses. You also noted who is exempted and who is not exempted. Um, One of the things that you highlighted in that presentation was the partnership with Harare Institute of Technology for data protection training, where you highlighted, I think you said over 800 data protection officers have been trained so far. And I think I was just thinking to myself of the whole country. With thousands of businesses who process data, and we only have 800, especially if you take into consideration that you mentioned that even the government has to government offices also have to comply, and we only have 800 data protection officers the whole country. I think I'm wondering about the level of compliance there. So maybe you may clarify or just hint to us the level of compliance that we have so far, if especially when I look at the number of data protection officers that have been trained. I think another issue that I would also ask if it could be addressed is the issue of having one institution, another Institute of Technology, being the only accredited institution for data protection officers training. Why can't we have more institutions accredited so that if I'm in Masvingo, if I'm in Bulawayo, or if I'm in Mutare, I can deal with institutions that are domiciled within that vicinity, as opposed to having to travel either to Harare or bringing people from heat to Bulawayo so that they can train data protection officers. I think maybe if you can clarify on that issue. But ladies and gentlemen, I think the floor is open. We would welcome questions, we would welcome comments as we seek clarification and as we pursue compliance towards data protection regulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Kuda. On the issue of level of compliance, so these regulations came into being in September of last year, and we have trained over 800 data protection officers. Yes, whilst it's not much, but in the space of less than a year, I think we have done quite some work. Because this issue is still new, we are building up the critical mass on that. But you must also understand that a data protection officer can work as a consultant. So you can actually outsource your data protection officer services. So if we've trained 800 data protection officers, those data protection officers can offer their services to different entities. There are people who offer data protection as a service to different entities. So you might see we might have one DPO who is servicing 5, 6, 7 different entities, whilst others might also be in-house. So I need to hasten to say that it's starting, but the picture will not be the same this time next year. And also, we haven't been, we're not yet penalizing people for non-compliance with the law because we're still trying to set up the framework and raise the awarenesses, which is why we're having this meeting. But we are starting where we are. In Q4, we will be doing compliance checks and assessments, and those who are found wanting might find themselves being taken to court. And we're also working on our administrative fines so that we can fine non-compliant entities ourselves without necessarily going to court, like what Zimra and Emma does. And this, again, is also in line with international best practices where data protection authorities fine data controllers for non-compliance with the law. So I'm sure when those enforcement mechanisms come into place, or when one or two people have been prosecuted, the level of compliance will certainly rise. But as an authority, we are more interested in raising awareness and for people to understand what data protection is and that it is good for them. And then those who are non-compliant, obviously, will look for ways to bring them into the fold. So we are starting. It will not be the same by this time next year or even 5 years' time to be a totally different issue. On the issue of training institutions, yes, we have been working with the Harare Institute of Technology, but in July, we also collaborated with the National University of Science and Technology, NAST, and we also held training sessions there in Bulawayo. The partnerships take time to develop, but we had to start. And we have started with the Harare Institute of Technology. NAST is also now on board, and I'm sure in the days to come, you will see different institutions also coming on board. So I hope I've answered you, Kuda, and everybody else.
Um, Thank you. Thank you. I think well answered. I've got something in the comment section there where can you kindly ask Richanzi to share the her presentation later so that we are able to refer back to seeing that we are not able to view the slides at the moment. I've also had somebody who has requested if they can have the presentation that you have made, if we can then share with them. I don't know if that is okay with you. And then the other thing that I just wanted to ask is, what is the cost of training per data protection officer? Is that something that you have the figures on? I think it would also help just to have an idea. Ladies and gentlemen, you are free to ask questions. Please feel free. I don't see any hand up or any other questions in the comment section. Oh, there's one here. Thank you, Zichanzi. What's the duration of the DPO class from commencement of class? What's the duration of the DPO class from commencement of class? That's a question that has come in the comment section.
Okay, thank you again. So the DPO training is 14 days of classes followed by a certification exam at the end. So you will learn and be certified within 14 days. And then the cost of the DPO training is $1,280, including lunch and teas and training materials and the exam. That is the fee. It's payable in local currency.
Thank you, Shichanzi. Are there any other questions? There
Yes,
is a
I had my
comment
hand
there
up.
from, okay, yes, Gugu, you can go
Thanks,
ahead.
Kuda. Thank you so much. And thanks, Shichanzi, for the presentation. I'll start with the 1,360. I think it's quite steep, especially for small to medium enterprises. And is that something that Potraz can look at in terms of just making the course affordable? That's my first comment. But the question I really wanted to ask was, we are in the, so my organization is called AdConnect Global Solutions. We are a business process outsourcing entity. And one of the things that we do is we do get contracts, for example, for things like your customer satisfaction surveys, where we then get access to our clients' data to conduct that customer satisfaction survey. I just wanted to find out from Potraz how they view that data. So we have access to the data. Maybe it's a month, 2 weeks, depending on how long the exercise takes. We do the assignment, we produce a report, and that data is no longer available to us. How do you treat those instances?
Okay, thank you, Guguletu. I think we also have another hand from Tinashe Kujoka. Please go ahead and take the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Kuda. My question is around the entry requirements for training as a data protection officer. So I was looking at the HIT website, where they specify that applicants must hold at least a first degree in any relevant field. And for special entry, the applicant must hold at least 5 O levels, including English language, plus at least 2 A-level passes, or a diploma with at least 2 years experience in a relevant field. So I was looking at the nature of our economy, which is highly informalized, with a lot of small businesses that actually process data. And once we make it difficult for everyone to train as a DPO, it means the few that get trained will be costly or expensive for these small businesses, because they will say, because I'm highly qualified, I have a degree. So like for myself, if I've got a small organization, I might not be able to hire a DPO or appoint one, because they may come in with high expectations in terms of salary or benefits. So that's why I'm questioning the entry requirements. Why not just say anyone with 5 O-levels can train as a DPO? I don't think that this certification is that difficult. It might require someone to have a degree. Why not open it up so that we can have a lot of companies complying? They can send in their people to train we've got just 5 O-levels, and then they become compliant. So my question is, why are we insisting on these high qualification, why high entry requirements? Thank you.
Thank you, Tinashe. Thank you, Guguletu. I think those are the questions that have been put across. Whilst you are preparing to respond to that, there is something that has come again in the message section. The presentation was eloquently presented and in a clear sequence. That's a compliment coming there from Kizito Shitauro. Thank you again for these kind comments. We also have another question, or is it from Tinashe Kujoka? I'm not sure whether it's the same one that he has just.
Yeah, it's the same one that I asked.
Ah,
Yes.
okay. No, that's fine. So there you have it, Chanzi. I think the issue to do with the cost of doing business here, I think that's basically what's being posed here. So can I hand over to you to respond, whilst others, if you still have questions, please prepare, so that once we have had a response from Chanzi, we can move on to the next round of questions.
Okay. Thank you for the questions and also for the compliment. So the issue of the DPO training fee is a statutory fee. We as Potraz cannot control it because it is set by statute. However, we are cognizant of the fact that people say the figure is too high. But this is how you can be helped. Remember, we said that a DPO is a service, and there's nothing that stops businesses from having a shared service. So in this regard, at ZNCC level, you can provide that service for your members. And obviously, if it is a shared service, it will have shared, it will definitely bring the cost down. So instead of every small business going out to get its own data protection officer, you might simply come together at your association levels and have DPOs at that level. So it is one of the mechanisms that is there to ensure that there is higher compliance. And also, you can come to us and we can even help you to structure these things to help to bring down those costs. As for the requirements, as to why should we have somebody with a degree, that's why we've got the special entry which says you need to have at least 2 A-levels. And the reason is that the course is not particularly simple. You need to have some form of education, as it were, or prior knowledge, as it were, for you to pass the certification. So that is the reason, really, to say 5 O-levels might not cut it, maybe 2 A-levels. You would still do well. And Zimbabweans, we like to go to school, and I'm sure in every organization there would be somebody with at least 2 A-levels. I think those were the main themes running through the questions that I got.
All right. No, thank you, Zichanzi. I think I'll take the last round of question.
You didn't answer my
Uh,
question. I did.
oh, yes, sorry about that. Yes, from Guguletu. I think there's still aspects of the question that still needs to be addressed.
On the issue of the customer satisfaction surveys, and you have access to that personal data. When you have access to that data, you count that as part of your data subjects. The fact that you give it back and you do not have access to it would make it difficult, really, isn't it, for you to then say which tire are you? So you would have to average it out and say over a period of 12 months, how much data do we have access to? And you can then identify your appropriate tier for registration. I hope that answers you, Google it too.
Not quite, but I'm sure that you'll share your details, and maybe it's a conversation that we can have so that you assist us with that process.
Yes, we're ready to do that.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions? There is one from Baldwin Tauya. Again, is the class also on a rolling basis, or there are intakes with which we need to abide to? That's a question from Baldwin Tauya. And are there any other questions? Because I think if we don't have any other questions, I think this is the last round of questions that I am taking. Are there any other questions? I see there is something that has come again in the messages. Can an individual be a DPO for multiple companies? I think this was addressed, but yes, that's a question that has come from Edgar. Can an individual be a DPO for multiple companies? And please, can Zichanzi share your details? Can Sichanzi share your details? I think people would want to contact you, and I hope that does not breach the data protection regulations. So those are the comments, or those are the questions that have come through. Is there any other before we close? Again, from Baldwin, can we also upgrade the tires as the data handling grows? That's a question that has come in again for you, Zichanzi. Can we also upgrade the tires as the data handling grows? That's a question that has come in. And also, please, Google, if you are able to share the presentation, you can give us your presentation, and then we can share with the colleagues who are participating on this platform, if that's okay. I hand over to you, Zichanzi.
Thank you once again. Yes, an individual who's a DPO can offer their services to multiple entities. And then on the issue of the class, we offer it on a rolling basis. I will also share with ZNCC our details as well as the application procedures for the course so that those who want to join can also apply. Yes, I will share my presentation and my details so that those who want to get in touch with us can also do that. And I also need to allay people's skepticism. The DPO certification is a once-off certification. So you're not required to come every year and pay another 1,200. I hope that will also put things into perspective. And as Potraz, we are available to assist you or answer any questions that you might have on issues of data protection. We are also available. I have to put a small disclaimer, our schedule permitting, because it is quite hectic for us as we are still starting this issue of data protection. Everyone wants us to come and make a presentation to them, but we are also available to do that, but we do that for a small fee. It's at NCC, we do that for free, but if you were to come to your organization, we'll charge a very small fee. So do not be afraid to invite us and we'll come. I yield back to you, Kuda. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Richanzi. If you've heard it for yourself, was it NCC? It's free, but if you are doing it for yourself, there is a small fee. So I think you can see why it's important to belong to an association like ZNCC. This is some of the information that you get, and you are able to get details of how to navigate the regulatory environment and spur your business growth. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our session for this Friday, and I would want to, at this juncture, to give a very big thank you to Potraz and specifically to Richanzi Mugota for that brilliant, very succinct presentation. We really appreciate it as ZNCC. And may I also take this opportunity to thank you all, the participants who joined on this platform as we were discussing this very important issue, which will help you towards reaching compliance in terms of the data protection regulations. So thank you so much. Please enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your weekend. Thank you.